human.
Inverness fields the snap, left foot's the punt, left to right toward Marcus Jones. He's under between the hash marks at the 6. He runs it left to the 15, to the 20, accelerates 30, 35, 40, beating Gillen off the hit along the near side 40, to the 30. Marcus Jones going to the 20, to the 10, to the house. Touchdown, Patriots!
Look at this place! You tell me they're not ready for playoff football? Gillette Stadium is back!
Perhaps the best punt returner in the National Football League, Marcus Jones, to the house there. And on the play-by-play portion of that equation, Bob Socci, Scott Zolak is the analyst there with the grunts. And Bob Socci has been the play-by-play voice for the red, white, and blue of football immortality for quite some time. And we officially unfurl our Glorify the Good segment. We begin with the New England Patriots. Zolak with Gillette up there Foxborough way. I mean, look at them. They're definitely ready for playoff football, aren't they, Bobby? But they seriously are ready for playoff football, right?
Hey, Paul, good to be with you. And absolutely. And when we last saw one another back in August for the joint practices in the preseason game, I think there were expectations, certainly, that Mike Vrabel would turn things around for New England and that Drake May would improve dramatically over his rookie season. But I think those expectations were that those things would happen. They would unfold over a couple of seasons. And it's been really remarkable, the rapid growth and the poise that May has shown at quarterback and the way that Vrabel has been able to push all the right buttons in terms of his dealings with players, the relationship building process, and as well in game. A lot of things have turned out well for them. It's been a favorable schedule for sure. They've played down this most recent stretch, winning 10 in a row now, 10 straight wins for the first time since 2015, with a lot of building confidence, but also of late withstanding some adversity, including really the first rash of injuries they faced for a team that's not too deep. So far, they're withstanding the tests, and it's really remarkable to think not only about the postseason, but about potential for postseason bye right now.
Bob, permit me to be the 10,000th to ask you this question. What's it like working with Scott Zolak?
And I will say, Paul, for the 10,000th time, exactly as you imagine it would be. The broadcast, it features two guys often talking over one another. Sometimes screaming over one another, but we have a blast. Scott is, for the most part, wasn't too much fun the last couple of years, going through a pair of 4-13 seasons. But Scott is animated in terms of how he sounds, how he works, how he looks, and how he is, off the air. That's what it's like with Zoe. It's quite an experience.
You ever, and you both are extremely gifted and a wonderful, wonderful duo. Do you, Bob Socci, do you ever find yourself waking up in the morning and wanting to say, "What are you looking at, Beetle?" I mean, there are three people who understand what I just said. Me, you, and the producer, mad producer over there. What are you looking at, Beetle? But that's it can definitely morph into that for Mr. Bob Socci. 10 consecutive for the Pats. And I caught this via Bob's X feed, where they're the only team in National Football League history to score 23 or more points 10 consecutive times and allow 23 or fewer points 10 consecutive times. I mean, what are we on to here? You mentioned the injury piece and the depth or lack thereof, but I watch Monday night, and I've seen you guys play a few times this year, and yesterday I went on the radio talking about your team a little bit, and I'm like, hey, Drake May is going to be a National Football League MVP one day. I don't know what day that's going to be, but I honestly believe that. Do you think he can soar to that height?
I do, Paul, and I think he's certainly in the conversation right now for this season, which I never imagined being able to say, let alone think. back in the preseason when we last saw one another, and he was just beginning to grasp Josh McDaniel's system. But he has this great combination, obviously the physical talent and the attitude. But what he's shown us this season, too, is that he has the aptitude. His growing understanding of the offense, the way he's able to quickly process things, it's reflected in the stats. When you look at, for example, the distribution from game to game. Now, they didn't have a 100-yard receiver against the Giants, but if you look at the box score, you'll see everybody involved. Everybody who's out there is an eligible pass catcher is getting the ball. And in the previous 4 games, they had a 100-yard receiver in each of those contests. And it was a different guy every week. It was Pop Douglas. It was Hunter Henry. It was Matt Collins. And that's been the case with May all season long. And the poise, the little things in a quarterback that really make a significant difference. 2 hands on the ball as he's moving up, sliding in the pocket. The eyes downfield as he's rolling out. He's starting to learn how to slide. He did that the other night and avoided any kind of a hit like Jackson Dart took by Christian Ellis. So we're just seeing continual growth week to week. And what's funny, his career high in passing yards was the previous game against Cincinnati, 294 yards. And he came out of that game with a lot of people saying, boy, that was a down game for Drake May. And I think that's a sign of just, how good he's become right now in a very short period of time.
Hey, Bob, with Drake, let's go back to this time last year, because clearly we have some McCarthy-related terrorism here. He's either not playing or he's struggling, then he's out again, then he's winning games in dramatic fashion in fourth quarters. So, hey, kids are going to be kids, man. He's 22 years of age. He's trying to find his feet. But with Drake May this time last year, like say, 6, 7 starts into it, how much better is he now than he was last year?
Oh, Paul, it's night and day. And it's not just how much better is Drake May. It's how much better is the offensive line. The Patriots drafted 2 players, one in the first round, one in the third round, though they're both injured right now. They have started in all but 1 game for them in the case of Will Campbell, and all but 2 games in the case of third-round pick Jared Wilson. They added a veteran right tackle, reliable guy in Morgan Moses. They brought in a free agent center, your former guy, Garrett Bradbury, who's been a really good presence in that locker room and a really stabilizing force, I think, on the offensive line to help Drake May with protections and such. So you start right there, and then you look at the balance in the wide receiver room and the tight end position. Hunter Henry is a very underappreciated tight end in New England, I think, based on the body of his work since he joined the Patriots in 2021, and really over across the league. He's not maybe on the same tier as the elite tight ends, but he's a guy who shows up consistently and is really a strong security blanket for Drake May. Diggs has helped tremendously. I think he's been far better than we could have anticipated coming off the injury. And he's fit in as a leader right now. He's been a great leader by example and by word on the sideline, particularly with the young receivers. So it is Drake May and how much he's improved, but it's all those other things that go into being a good quarterback. And last year as a rookie, from what I understand, like with McCarthy, Drake May was exposed, to a lot of situations where, the line didn't hold up. The team was struggling, more so, I think, than, we expected going into last year. We thought that there would be a bounce because they had a great first week showing against Cincinnati, and it just never held up.
Bob, time for 2 more for Bob Socci. He's the Vox, the longtime radio play-by-play voice for the New England Patriots. And this is glorifying the good, talking about other teams around the NFL, but specifically the really, really good ones. And the Patriots are really, really good. What do you think of the Bills? I know the Pats got the money earlier against the Buffalo Bills, but that was quite some time ago. What do you think of the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I think the Bills are a team that, still they're 2 games behind the Patriots at 8-4, but they are the team that I think is still as feared as any in the conference with good reason, because as you mentioned, the Patriots have a potential MVP. The Bills have an MVP in Josh Allen, and he's right there again this season. What he's done in some games, the way he's been able to carry that team at times as a runner and a passer, I don't think you can ever count him out, and that's cliched. And the Patriots are going to play them a week from Sunday. The Bills are coming off a performance where they ran it so well against Pittsburgh, and their defense has shown signs of improvement. They had a rough first half against Houston, both offensively and defensively, but they might have found their identity in that Pittsburgh game, and their defense has done a great job really since the second half of the Houston game through the Pittsburgh contest. There's a lot of experience over there. There's a lot of winning experience over there. I don't think that the receivers necessarily are as talented, as dangerous as some of the groups we've seen in the past. And I don't necessarily think that the defense has been as good as some of the units that we've seen in the past. But I think given the landscape of the AFC, and the fact that it's Josh Allen that you have to deal with in Buffalo, if you end up playing there, and the Patriots right now are in a position where they could host the Bills if they ever meet them a third time this year. But that's going to be a very, very difficult task to defeat Buffalo, whether it's home or away. But especially, I think, up in Orchard Park. The albatross for them has been Kansas City. And right now, obviously, the Chiefs are on the outside looking in.
My brother, thanks very much for the chat. Wonderful, wonderful perch chat, too, during the joint practices. And, in those joint practices, what we saw with the Vikings and New England Patriots on that second day, I'm like, hey, geez, holy cow, we might be really good and they might have some troubles. But that's why we don't base opinions off joint practices, because your squad is on fire, man. And I wish nothing but the best for you, your family, and this football team. Okay. Thanks, Bob.
Hey, Paul, really appreciate it. Same to you.
Bob Socci, play-by-play voice, the Vox for the New England Patriots. John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild, joins right around 15, 17 minutes from now. You're listening to 9 to Noon.
Fan.
Well, off that glorifying the good conversation, it in really non-snarky fashion, it is perhaps this iHeart software Windows update. Am I looking to restart or snooze?
You have a snooze option?
I got a snooze option.
Yeah, pass that on to the program.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he'll have to deal with it in 2 hours, and then he'll snooze it. He'll pass it on to bumper. He'll snooze it.
Okay.
And then the power trip and the cycle repeats.
But shouldn't the snooze option be available noon to 3?
I always love that one.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll hit. So why didn't you laugh at that one? You know it was funny.
I am laughing.
You know it was funny. How come you didn't audibly laugh at that one? Ack-ack-a-dack. Take that snooze shot and give it a whack. The Pats. You see, this really is in non-snoozy or snarky-like fashion, but it's fact. The Minnesota Vikings are going to finish the 2025 regular season with the worst record in the NFC North. They are going to be fourth in the North.
Ugh.
They are going to finish in last place.
Does that mean we don't have to do the NFC debate then at the State Fair? Like we set it up.
This is potentially the greatest news I've ever professionally received in my life.
Let's get Hatch involved, and we just let Lavelle, Cinny, and Jason Hatch represent the other three teams in the North. You and I go grab a Frano Pup.
And you know what the pregame show for that is? Tomorrow at 11:15.
I always love that.
That's right.
When Sinekin and Lavelle are in studio, and I'm going to introduce them and have you figure out some form of game or trivia game or something like that involves 5 questions.
I'm on it.
It's one marathon segment.
Yeah.
And the Sultan of Smug and Wobble Wobble. They wobble, toil, and wobble. They're going to go back and forth on just a life changer this weekend at 3:25. The Bears, it's come.
See, you're starting to piss me off a little bit because it's cool to have games that matter. Mm-hmm. It's cool to have games that matter.
Right.
It's cool to be in the mix.
Yeah, I know.
I like it when my team's in the mix.
I'm not the one that should be frustrating you. I'm not the one.
That's true. It's not your fault.
No, I have nothing to do with it.
No, you don't.
I'm just trying to figure out who Ernest Jones IV is for 70 yards and 4 seconds of real-time life.
You found it, though.
That's my lot in life, and Hey, we all leave a little to be desired at times, and then sometimes there's a lot to be desired.
Anatomy of a play call for a 4-win team. Your ability to buy yourself time by saying awful decision by Max. That helped you for an extra 20 yards as you scrambled down the depth chart to find Mr. Jones.
You know where all the bones are buried. There's no doubt when it comes to me executing my play-by-play toil, and you are dead right. So the New England Patriots, as we glorify the good, and we do so for about 90 more seconds, they absolutely, part of their success, winning 10 consecutive, only team in NFL history to score 23 or more points and not allow 23 points or more 10 consecutive games.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But they definitely are, to a certain extent, feasting on a last-place schedule. Now, there is a fly in this proverbial ointment. It's kind of like the Wild being acid tested for class against teams like Edmonton and Calgary and Seattle and things like that coming up. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you play in the best division in the National Hockey League.
That's right.
And that's what happens when you play in the best division in the National Football League.
That's true.
The NFC North. So, yes, last place schedule for the Pats, but it doesn't change. They still play the Jets twice.
Right.
They still play the Dolphins twice.
Yep.
Well, and then you got
they got the Bills,
and they
beat in primetime earlier this year
at Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So
think about this though: can a team beat if the road goes through Gillette, last place schedule will be damned. That's where there's a frustrating aspect to when we talk about last place schedules in that vein. Is if the Patriots feast on it, they're the number 1 seed in the AFC in a weird year with wonky, inconsistent, top heavy teams as they are.
Yeah.
Can you win at Gillette and bounce? Can you bounce Vrabel at home in January if they get the 1 seed?
When I came into the genesis of this bit a day and a half ago, I was really excited to look at last place teams from last year and see what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hey, well, we got the Bears.
Yep.
Oh, now, okay, look at the Bears. 9 wins. We got the Pats. It gets a little crickety after that.
It does.
San Francisco ran last year. And it also is in what has turned out to be a pretty tough division. Arizona makes life difficult on everybody. I think the Rams still have an excellent chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Browns, Titans, and Raiders doing what last place teams do.
Yeah,
you can't make the schedule easy enough.
That's where we almost killed the bit.
Saints are still the Saints.
Yep. Well, didn't they tie for last with the Panthers?
Saints, they were tied for last. Yes.
Look at the Panthers. 7
Panthers
wins. Turned it all around. Last place schedule. So, just in case anybody's interested, it's New England worst to first. Then it's last can't be passed. Last place schedule. With the Vikings finishing last in the NFC North. Sneak peek at 2026 meet. As of now, our home games and road games will be Detroit, Green Bay, and Chicago, and they're all good. But at home, we're going to get, with this last place piece, Atlanta, Carolina, the Giants, Tennessee, Buffalo, and Miami. On the road, Detroit, Green Bay, and Chicago. On the road, we will get Tampa Bay, Nolans, at Drake May, the Jets in Arizona. But we have 9 at home.
Yeah.
And we got 9 at home, and winning on the road against the Jets in New Orleans is not supposed to be difficult. So, hashtag Faith Radio.
We're back.
We're back. Don't call it a comeback. Why? Never been gone. Here comes Hynesy.
I can't wait.
We can't wait until tomorrow because it's another opportunity to root for the Minnesota Wild taking on the Calgary Flames, having won 10. They're 10-0-2 the last 12, and put a shutout on the Oilers last night. First time Edmonton has been blanked all year. Volstead gets the shutout, was terrific as usual, but that smart, controlled defense and so on is where we begin with John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild. Coach Hynes, it's Paul Allen. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, PA. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on last night and the way things have gone of late. And with the shutout, Jasper's obviously done things incredibly well of late. But like I was saying, the smart, controlled, sacrificing defense in front of him really paved the way for the win, in my estimation. What were some of the keys?
Yeah, I would agree. I thought, the team's really committed to playing strong defense. And, I think it's a combination of excellent goaltending and a group of guys that's committed to play the game the right way and defend hard. And usually when you get solid goaltending, there's going to be breakdowns in the game, or the other team's going to have really good players that make good plays throughout the game that sometimes you can't do anything about. And right now, when those are occurring, we're getting great saves by both guys. Wally's been really solid. Gus has been solid.
Right.
But I think, they're confident as two goaltenders, and our team's confident in them. And when you have that combination, it's usually a good recipe.
Yeah, the man you call Wally leads the league in shutouts with 4, all of them in the last 6 games. With him particularly, is he as confident and seeing it as clearly right now as maybe almost, any time you've been around, period?
Yeah, I think he's obviously seen the puck well. And the thing that sticks out is that he looks confident. He's a big goalie. He blocks well. He's not, swimming around in the crease. He's just really positionally sound. He makes the routine saves easy. He makes hard saves look easy because of his positioning. And, the thing I like about him too is there's a little bit of, I like how he competes too. Like he fights through traffic. He's got second effort on plays. It's hard to put the puck by him, when they get into all those scrums, or, he's got to fight for second effort opportunities in the net. That's a big part of being a goaltender too, not only for himself, but I think it bleeds into the team too as well.
When you see that you have it in you to stop McKinnon and Makar in a shootout like last Friday and win a game, that just has to send the confidence soaring, right?
Yeah, it certainly does. I think, when you get into the 3-on-3, it's, there's usually going to be a couple chances either way. But I think as a group, if we get into those shootouts, we feel like we got 2 goalies that can get it done in the shootout. And we also have guys that are good shootout shooters. So when we get in those situations, I think the group feels confident.
The second period save on Hyman was one of many fantastic moments. That was a doozy right there, though. Brodin, for those who missed it, Brodin dives, misses it. Hyman gets to the backhand in tight quarters, which was smooth, and is stopped by Jesper with Faber late on the scene to poke it away. That one for a second had to have you shaking in your loafers, right?
Yeah, for sure, and that's what I mean. I think you get in some of those situations where there's a good play made, and right now, whether it's the goaltending or the guys in front of them, there's either a big save or a shot block or a second effort stick. That's allowing those plays to be nullified, and that's usually a good recipe for giving yourself a chance to win every night.
John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild, at Calgary tomorrow evening, 4-game Pacific Northwest, Western Canada swing. And so far, 1-0, having beaten McDavid and Edmonton last night, shut them out. First shutout this year, Edmonton's taken. Well done. With both your goalies, with Wally and Gus, with both your goalies, is it fair to say when you guys, when mistakes are made, that those two are playing so well that they're able to cover up said mistakes?
Yeah, and that's what I talked about earlier with the trust. I think when your goaltenders are playing well, that when there are breakdowns or there are mistakes, it doesn't wind up in the back of your net. So your team can play. Your team plays confident and with some swagger, that they're not concerned that every time there's a mistake or a breakdown or a misread or a great play by the other team, the puck's going to wind up in the back of the net. But in turn, the way that the team plays in front of the goaltenders gives them confidence too. So when you have that combination, it's usually the best recipe, because the goaltenders give the team confidence and the team gives the goaltenders confidence, and that's when you can keep it rolling.
In the business, we call that iron sharpening iron, don't we, Coach Hynes?
Oh, I like that. I'm going to use that one.
How about Brodin on McDavid? And it's a team game here, man. So I'm not, making it sound like it's, Sauce Gardner opposite Tyreek Hill just shutting him down the entire game. But Brodin on McDavid, what are some things he did to keep one of the game's very best off kilter, and just overall, what made Brodin so hard to play against last night?
Yeah, I mean, Jonas he's a guy that's, as a coaching staff, we have a lot of confidence to play him against top players. He's got a wealth of experience. He's a really smart player. He's got great feet skating, so he can skate with the top players. And he's got great stick position, good defensive instincts, and he competes. And, when he's at the top of his game, he's one of the best that I've been around that can play against that caliber of player, the McKinnons, the McDavids, the Dreisaitl's. Even though he may not be the biggest guy, he's smart, competitive, great skater, good instincts, and an excellent stick.
That's a big statement. You've been around quite some time, head coach in multiple places. The one of the best that plays against big timers like McKinnon and McDavid and players like that, right? I mean, that's what Jonas is compensated to do, and it sounds like he's coming through more than he's not, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's, I would say on the other side of it as well, when, for example, let's say when Brodin's out of our lineup, if he's injured or whatever it might be, you miss that component of his game, is his ability to match up against top players. But he's also a really good puck-moving defenseman. He's a guy that can get you out of your zone, whether it's by himself, his skating, or he can just move the puck. He makes simple plays and he advances the puck to our forwards. And that's also a big part of being able to be effective against top players, because if you can do that, you don't have to defend as much.
Coach Hynes, why was it? Now you win 1-0 and you win in regulation, so you get 2 and give 0, which rocks. But why was it so difficult to get grade A chances 5-on-5, really, for both teams?
Well, I think from our perspective, I think we're playing with pretty strong defensive structure. I think we're taking away the middle of the ice. We have a real commitment to getting shot lanes and block shots. That doesn't allow the pucks to get into those areas as often. And although I think Edmonton's obviously had their struggles, I would say that, last night I thought they defended pretty hard as well. It was tough to get shots through to the net. I thought their goaltender made some good saves when we had looks. Our guy made saves when they had looks. But I'd say that they did a good job as well, I think, of defensive commitment, particularly in their own end or off the rush of taking away the middle of the ice.
When you come into a game and you scheme it up with practices and morning skates and stuff to keep teams on the perimeter, to keep them on the outside, is that kind of an every game thing, or is it team specific?
No, I would say, you know what, it's an every day thing for us, really, is you have to be strong structure, and you have to be committed to play. When you don't have the puck, you have to be able to be committed to have certain habits and play to the structure that we try to provide for the players, and they bought in and they're committed to that. I would say game to game, there's different things that teams do. So as a coaching staff, we'll go through, for example, last night we knew we had to be good in our defensive zone because they do certain things offensively, but also, say, for example, with McDavid and Draisaitl and guys like that, it's also your line rush against defense. It's your forechecking structure. It's not giving up odd man rushes and giving them easy offense. So some of that stuff is team specific as well.
Faber played the final 2.5 minutes during the game sealing kill. Yeah, wow, holy cow! I mean that's I know it's a penalty kill, but that's Iron Man stuff right there in hockey, isn't it?
Yeah, Fabes, we rely on him as well, similar to Brodin, and that last 2.5 minutes, we were in some heat, right? They were going to pull the goalie and the penalty, and but he's a guy that's in fantastic shape. He's a tremendous competitor, and one of the things as a coaching staff we talked about early in the year was it's almost like the more minutes he plays, the more effective he can be. And it's nice that we have some guys like a Faber, Brodin, Eck, Boldy, Kaprizov, these guys, you count on them in a lot of key situations, but their fitness level and their competitiveness and they're guys that can handle those types of loads because of the way they take care of themselves and the competitive nature that they have.
Last one, Coach. Thanks for the time from Western Canada. At Calgary tomorrow night, Wally Wallstedt shut them out a few weeks ago. Do you come back with him, or is this a Gus game?
That's something we're going to meet here in a little bit as coaches and discuss. As I said before, I think that both goaltenders have played well, and we've had a pretty good rotation here. And one of the things I think we've talked about is that when you have two guys playing well, it's nice because they're both fresh. And I think when one guy plays, he's fresh and he's ready and he's competing for the team and he's competing against the other guy in a healthy way. But I also think when the guy that doesn't play, he has opportunities to stay, fresh, and also gives an opportunity to work on certain things with Freddie where, they can stay sharp in their details. And I think that's helped both guys. So we'll make the determination on who's going to play tomorrow, probably later today.
John, and knowing head coaches as well as I've gotten to know them and work with them over, 2.5+ decades, is I would imagine a 10-0-2, beating Colorado the way you did, getting those 2 points on Friday. It just, as a head coach, more so thinking about your players and social media and stuff. Two of the last things you want to deal with right now are constantly hearing you're one of the best teams in the NHL, which you are, but you're one of the best teams in the NHL, and Jesper Wallstedt is just a Stonehenge, just can't be beat. I mean, you know what I'm saying there. It's not that it would change everything, but you guys like to minimize distractions, right?
Yeah, you certainly do. And I think, one of the things for us is, it's a daily process in this league, and you've got to be prepared every day. You've got to be ready every day. There's different challenges. So for us, it's not so much about where our record is and being a top team or whatever that may be, because it's a slippery slope. 7 weeks ago, we weren't. And, for us, I think moving forward, particularly tomorrow, is we didn't handle a situation a couple days ago where we beat Colorado and we came back and we played Buffalo and we didn't bring our best. And I think if you want to be an elite team in this league, it's about getting ready for the next one. And that's our challenge yes, we had a good win and it was a shutout against, a good team, but now what's our preparation going to be tomorrow? So for us, that's how we focus as coaches. And that's what we're going to try to get our players to be able to do as well for tomorrow.
Yeah, those are high-end expectations of near perfection. It's fantastic, but watching that Colorado game and the emotional wherewithal that came out of it and stuff, and having Buffalo the next day. Now, granted, I was traveling to Seattle, so I didn't see it. So maybe they didn't play well, but I mean, you know that they're just not going to take down 2 every single game. And one thing that I think is cool in situations like that, when you're able to get the 1. When you look back at the totality of the season, moments like that are key.
Yeah, they are key, and it's all about it's about consistency. It's such a hard league to win in every night that it truly does require a certain mindset and toughness about you and the team to make sure that sometimes you may not have your A game every night, but you have to find ways to win and try to be at your best. And if you don't have your A game, you got to have a B game. But, I think to be really consistent, it can't drop past that. So, for us, it's about, the guys have a recovery day today, and then we get back to work tomorrow. And I'm excited to see our response to see if we can meet that challenge.
Right on, my man. Fantastic chap. Call you next week. Continued success, okay?
All right, PA. Thanks, man.
Yep, for sure. See you. Great work by those guys. Truly. Seriously, very, very well done, Coach Hynes and the Minnesota Wild.
Let's play hockey!
Can't wait to chat tomorrow when we rise and shine at 9. Here comes Big Daddy Con with that wrap on the show.
Big boy's back.
Time for 2 more.
Good stuff.
The game is over.
All right, this season, it's gotten to a point where it cannot be fixed with a well-rolled joint, and there's no urges to chill and no spelling relax, and it's just, what do we have in our young quarterbacks? Is it over? That question is rhetorical as some bad trends start looking historical. You cannot win at home, the defense never takes, and the offense every week, mistake after mistake. So, all of us in need of a respite. This team, it's driving all of us batch. So we have Susie on to glorify the good, and then we skate on over, to the hardwood. The Wolves double feature. They're winning at the Pels, and it's Ant every night. He's firing bombshells. Yes, sir, Jesper on an absolute heater as the hockey team moving the meter.
You like that? You like that?
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.